Hello and welcome back to our video series on digital reform. Today we're talking about the Online Safety and Media Regulation Act and the online safety codes that Coimisiún Meán is going to be developing under the Act. To discuss recent developments in this area, I'm joined by my colleague Laura Dunne, Associate in the Technology and Innovation Group.
Thanks, Aoife.
So we're talking today about the Online Safety and Media Regulation Act, or the OSMRA, which we've touched on earlier in the series, where Rory talked about scope and Alison talked about protections for children. But what I'm going to pick your brain on today, Laura, are the online safety codes that Coimisiún Meán is going to be developing under the Act. Can you set the scene for us a little bit in terms of the online safety codes and what they're about?
So under the OSMRA, Coimisiún Meán has the power to develop online safety codes that will be binding on entities providing certain services. These codes can cover a broad range of themes, including appropriate measures to deal with harmful content online, and also ensuring that service providers have measures in place concerning commercial communications that adequately protect its users, including children. In terms of the content of these codes, the OSMRA indicates that they can include service standards, self-assessments and mandatory reporting obligations, but in general the Commission has quite a lot of discretion as to what it will include.
Okay, so a broad range of themes there that the Commission can tackle, and a broad discretion for the Commission as well in terms of how it wants to tackle those themes. You also mentioned there that these codes are going to be binding. Can you tell us a little bit about who the codes will be binding on?
The online safety codes will apply to relevant online services which the Commission has the power to designate. The Commission will designate a named service, or indeed a category of services, as being subject. The Commission will also maintain a register of named service providers, which will set out the name of the designated entity and also its category of designation. This approach is different to what we've seen under the DSA, where VLOPs and VLOs have been designated on the basis of a specific named entity.
That's interesting that the Commission can either focus on the name service providers, or they can designate kind of a general category of services that are going to come in scope. Do we have much information on how the Commission will make these designations and then the impact once the designation has been made?
There are a number of factors set out under the OSMRA which the Commission must take into account. These include the nature and scale of the services being provided, the likelihood of harm to the public, the likelihood that the public will be exposed to the harmful content, and the degree of availability of the harmful content on the platform. Once an organisation is offering a service that has been designated by the Commission, the online safety codes will be binding upon that entity, and the Commission will have a number of enforcement powers and sanctions against relevant online platforms for failing to for failing to adopt the online safety codes, which include obtaining an access barring order from the High Court to block public access to the service, which would no doubt be quite disruptive.
Oh no, absolutely. So quite a significant then enforcement power for Coimisiún Meán in terms of non-compliance with its online safety codes. Has the Commission made any designations as yet?
They have. The first designation will become effective on the 11th of September. The Commission have designated video sharing platforms, which was mandatory under the OSMRA due to the risk of harmful content that these platforms pose.
So we have our first designation then under the OSMRA. Have there been any developments in respect to the online safety code that's going to apply to video sharing platforms?
Yeah, the Commission have published its first work programme, which will run up until the DSA comes into force in February 2024. In tandem with its designation of relevant online services, it will also publish online safety codes. The Commission have recently opened its public consultation process on the online safety code for video sharing platforms, where it's invited public input into the content of the codes, what it will cover and the measures that will be imposed on video sharing platforms. And this consultation process will close in early September.
Okay, that's really interesting. So we're going to be adopting a bit of a wait and see approach then in terms of the content of the online safety code for video sharing platforms. Does the work programme tell us anything about the direction of travel for the content of that online safety code, or the Commission's plans for other online safety codes?
The work programme for the Commission has touched on a number of areas that these online safety codes will deal with, which include protection of minors from harmful content, hate speech and criminal offences. In tandem, the Commission have also stated that it will develop its own e-commerce strategy, which will take the form of an online safety code. The it ran a consultation process, which is just closed in August, so we're awaiting the outcome of that.
Okay, so 2 online safety codes in the hopper for the Commission at the moment. I'm conscious the work programme you mentioned is relatively detailed, and Coimisiún Meán has already hit the ground running in terms of its designation of video sharing platforms. Are there any other aspects of the work programme that you think are worth flagging today?
There are 2 things that stick out to me. Firstly, in terms of online safety, in Q4, the Commission has stated that it will consider procedures that could be put in place to protect against terrorist content online. Secondly, the Online Safety Commissioner, Niamh Hodnett, and the Digital Services Coordinator, John Evans, have stated that they will engage with major platforms on the Commission's supervisory and monitoring activities.
Okay, so a very busy Q4 and run up to Christmas then for Coimisiún Meán, but an interesting area to watch as it develops. Thank you very much for sharing those insights today, Laura. That's all we have time for in this video, but all of the videos in our digital reform series are available on the Arthur Cox website. Thank you very much for watching.